So if I was right here, and this is my neutral setup with my feet, I would go one step back, one step in. I might even angle the foot out a little bit more right here.
Okay.
So I might angle the foot out a little bit more right here. So now as I swing this back, I have, like we've talked about in another video, I have a runway now for the arms to be able to work back down in front.
Yeah.
I can chip balls this direction, feeling that right there.
So the point being, if your hip's kicking in forward and the foot, and that's part of why the arms are too far back, you're saying, hey, let's just keep that hip back out of the way. That way I've got space to even feel the arms come down in the first place.
100%, just to be able to feel what it's like for the arms in the golf club to plane itself back out while the arms are in front there.
All right, guys, in today's video, we're talking about how to get the arms in front in the downswing. I got my buddy Trevor Salzman here with us today. How to get the arms in front during the downswing, how to get the trail elbow in front and the arms really as a whole, Trevor. We're going to talk about really some feels, some general ideas and concepts, and probably 2 or 3 really good drills that you can use. Trevor, we know a lot of golfers come in, they feel like their arms are stuck behind their body for various reasons. Maybe they struggle with contact and consistency because of that, and they want to try and get the arms down in front, but they're not really sure how to go about it or what to do. So let's kind of talk through what that is. What does arms in front of the body mean? What are some of the checkpoints? How do we go about doing that?
Yeah, so I think if we start with, number one, I like diagnosing why can't somebody get their arms in front of them. So if we look at reasons why I think people can't get their arms in front of them, like if we started with this, is I think you and I see this on a lesson tee time all day, is we see trail hip, trail knee moves forward. So as that moves forward, this is going to be stuck behind. Okay, so the trail knee, trail hip, we could even say going into ankle extension right here. So this going up and going forward, I'm here in my backswing. This goes up, this goes forward. Well, now if I get this in front, I'm probably not going to get to the golf ball.
Yeah, good luck.
So I think that's one of the things, is the trail knee and the trail hip goes forward. Okay. One of the other reasons, another reason why I would say a lot of us end up getting stuck with our arms behind us is the word rotation. So a lot of times when we get up here, if we look at the center of mass of the chest right here, so right in this area, when I get up to the top right here, if I spin this, well, if my arms keep going with me, again, I'm not going to be able to get to the ball. So as a reaction to that, the lead arm is going to have to start pulling down the chest. Trail arm gets stuck behind it. So now from here, this is where we're left with hitting positions that look like this. I would say more than anything, I see a lot of thin shots and heavy shots, sometimes pushes out to the right. I know this is a big area for me. It hits home hard because it's something I've struggled with a lot throughout my career, and it's an area that I've had to put a lot of attention into it. So I think those are the big reasons why I would say probably our 2 biggest reasons why people get the arms stuck behind them, so that we can then go into how do we change it, how do we fix it.
And so those two, the 2 main ones just are like the trail hip and leg going in towards the ball too much, and or the upper body being too open relative to where the arms are at.
Yeah, and I'd even be specific in saying the chest is moving at too high of a rate rotating.
Perfect.
The chest moving at too high of a rate rotating right there.
And let's say the player has 1 or 2 of those things, and for whatever reason they have the arms more behind them. Would you give them some kind of checkpoints and feels first before you work into a drill?
Yeah, I totally agree with it. Yeah, I think one, if we've never actually been in this position right in here to where, let's say, the humerus in between my elbow and my shoulder, where this is actually working back in front here. If I've never felt what that is, I think that's the very first place I need to start. Like I might go in here, and I'm a big believer in position holding and neurological training in that regard. It's going here and saying, okay, I'm going to keep the trail hip, trail leg back. And now I'm going to feel this is working out in front, so we can see there's space between the lead arm and the chest now versus spinning and getting trapped like that. So that might be the first area that I go into, is just actually holding this for a few seconds and saying, okay, I have space here, space here, space here. Now my arms, I'm not going into a crazy move right here. I'm just working this up on plane, working this back this direction.
And real quick, Trevor, while you're doing that, because that looks like to me the position you're in there really solves both of the previous issues. Your hip is back, like you mentioned, and your chest also didn't fly out in front relative to the arms.
Yeah.
So like when you're feeling that, or the player's feeling that, from the top to that position, just to get a sense, are you really feeling like the arms are kind of independently doing that?
Yeah, I would say more so the arm and the trail shoulder.
Okay.
I would say, so like if this is at a 90-degree angle right here, this is working in front of me.
Yep.
So this would be working back in front of me. So I would call this would be like a shoulder movement or adduction of the trail arm right there. Yeah, that would be moving back in front of me right there. So there, that is for me, that is going to be an independent feel right there, especially if our arms are trained to move this way.
Right, exactly.
And they're going to want to continue moving that way. Well, if I keep the hip back and I still go this way, well, now I've got an even bigger problem than what I had before, I would say.
So we know in the real swing guys, like obviously a lot of these things are moving at the same time, but for the drill to feel it, it's like, hey, we can feel that motion independently at first, kind of shut off some of the other body motions just to get an awareness of where this. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just wanted to confirm that point.
Yeah,
there.
no, absolutely. Bringing, so it's like, so right in here, so here's my spine inclination. So I'm staying fairly stable with the spine. I might have a little bit of pressure that's moved forward here. So I have pressure that's moved forward, but I'm feeling that this is getting back in front this way right here.
Yeah.
And I might bring awareness to holding this.
And when you say this there, Trevor, are you feeling like, here's my arm, like a player might feel the arm, the elbow, kind of the whole unit?
Yeah, I think more importantly, I would say this area right here, the humerus. So from the elbow to the shoulder, this right here, this is moving in front that direction.
So that's the part they're really feeling in that transition motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I think you would start to see from this camera angle right here is, so we have the rib cage area. So as the rib cage area works back right here, you can see my right rib cage, the trail side of my rib cage is high here. If I start to spin it, we can see how much that's moved in front. So I'm going to be keeping the trail side of my rib cage back. I'm going to be keeping the trail side of my rib cage high and working this back in front here as I'm allowing pressure to move forward right there.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah, and so that would be my feel initially for the player that struggles with getting the arms trapped behind them there.
Perfect. And let's say specifically for the player who has the foot, the knee, the hip jutting in towards the ball, which we see a lot. I know you like to use like a right foot back drill to help feel that. Can you show us, maybe hit a couple and show us how to do that version of it?
Yeah, for sure. So again, I think when the arms don't have space, one of the fastest ways that we can bring awareness to changing this neurological pattern, or this movement pattern, let's call it, is let's put ourselves in a position anatomically to where we can't do it, or it becomes significantly harder. So if I was right here, and this is my neutral setup with my feet, I would go one step back, one step in. I might even angle the foot out a little bit more right here.
Okay.
So I might angle the foot out a little bit more right here. So now as I swing this back, I have, like we've talked about in another video, I have a runway now for the arms to be able to work back down in front.
Yeah.
I can chip balls this direction, feeling that right there.
It's funny, I've seen that sort of thing from guys, you know, our good friend Steve Saracki, I know Andy Plummer, all the stack and tilt guys like that drill. It's worked really good for me as well.
Yeah.
So the point being, if your hip's kicking in forward and the foot, and that's part of why the arms are too far back, you're saying, hey, let's just keep that hip back out of the way. That way I've got space to even feel the arms come down in the first place.
100%, just to be able to feel what it's like for the arms in the golf club to plane itself back out while the arms are in front there.
And as you're doing that, Trevor, can you do that drill again?
Yeah.
As you're doing that drill, are you probably the player still feeling that humerus bone in front motion with it?
Yeah, I think there's going to need to be an emphasis that's put on this for sure.
Yeah.
So like if I'm in here, let's say this is new to me. So I'm here in setup, one step back, one step in, trail toes out just a little bit.
And for most players, like, you know, that foot is going to feel back and really flared for you compared to normal, right? It's not, he don't have it back and flared a little bit. That's back and flared quite a lot.
And so let's think about this now. So now if I go here and this moves forward and I'm this far away from it, I'm going to struggle to get to the golf ball.
Yes.
So this will actually allow us and make us move back into the golf ball this direction.
And that's like down and forward?
Yeah, I would say that would be down and forward for sure.
Okay.
Versus what we're used to doing would be back and up.
Yeah, hello.
So we'd be changing up the pattern right there.
Okay.
So we'd go in here, trail foot back, trail foot out. I'd be in here, and I'm gonna feel the humerus right here is getting back in front of me.
Yeah. and you're kind of feeling that rib cage and that hip staying up and back like a smidge longer.
Absolutely,
in
absolutely.
transition. Trevor, you're swinging so good, I think we'll keep you right in there.
Yeah.
So the foot being back, and so you would start that, kind of start slow, you're hitting some shots with that, gradually ramp up length and speed with it.
Absolutely, always, always. I think firstly is make sure you know what something feels like. Video yourself even. Does it look different? I mean,
Dude,
that's one of
you
the
know what I
biggest
mean. We could do practice videos all day long, but it's funny. It's like I never see someone send a swing in where they're going like too slow and short. Like that never comes up. You can always go slower.
Ever.
So the right foot back drill, that could be just the video with that. Feeling the humerus bone in front, keeping the foot and rib cage back. I love that. Let's also say, I know you do a drill with the alignment rod, or we could have this through the belt loops.
Yep.
Can you show us how that would work, just to give us a feel for the same thing?
So again, so back to Eric's point and my point as well. Most of us go through practice sessions thinking that we've done something.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I would put it right here, is we're thinking that we've done something. Well, rather than thinking that we've done something, how about you know that you've done something right? So put yourself in a position to where you can actually create feedback doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have this alignment stick here, we have the antenna in my belt right there. As I'm right here, if this starts to shoot forward, I'm going to run into this.
Yeah.
Now, if you've never done this before, don't go right into hitting golf balls. I would say firstly, see if you can make a practice swing at, again, a slower paced motion.
Yes.
See if you can make a practice swing, maybe even pull the trail foot, trail hip back, and say, okay, what does this right here feel like?
Yeah.
What does this feel like to get this back out in front so that I can actually feel my arms get out in front of me without hitting the stick right there? And that would be the very first place.
We've done videos in the past, guys, where we're like, how to get more open with your body and feeling the arms going slower and stuff like that. And that's applicable for certain people for sure.
Yep.
If you're struggling with your arms behind you, that's not the sensations you're going to have here. This is very much you feeling like your arms and club going early to get back in front. Obviously the key is if you could film yourself from face on. We're trying to find feels that get us into a really good position in motion.
Absolutely. I think both Eric and I would be saying here, we're not saying that separation isn't something that's good in the golf swing. That's not what we're saying at all. This is independently targeting an area that we struggle with.
Yes.
Like when I first started doing this, my first thought was, well, I need to get way more open. Well, as I started to get more open, I got more trapped because of the way that I was doing it. I just went up to the top. I'd go up to the top and spin everything. And I'm like, man, I'm in a worse position than when I started right there. And my contact actually got worse initially.
Yeah.
This isn't saying that separating is a bad thing. I think it's a great thing still. I think we still need to have pressure that moves this way. It's just we can't have it to where this is actually moving out and forward, that the arms get more trapped behind us right there. So if you're in that boat, you might want to take a step back and actually start to comprehend what does it feel like to actually get the arms back out in front of us so that we can clean up contact. Then we can go into the other stuff.
Love it. Let's see one with that real slow. And even like in the beginning when I would give this to students, I'd almost tell them, guys, like, and you could hit Trevor, I would almost tell them like, try and make a full swing and hit the ball like as short as possible here. This is like a real long, real mellow. Like to give you an example, Trevor maybe hit that ball like 100 yards or so.
Yep.
And in the beginning of doing this to get a feel for the arms getting back in front, even though you're trying to get the arms going, you still want to keep the pace down. You can gradually ramp up speed.
Right. Otherwise, I think if we go at our fastest pace, we don't have control over what we're doing.
Totally.
We don't have control over what we're doing.
You wouldn't learn anything else like that either.
All we've done is we've chosen the same neurological pattern, added thought to it, and that's when we usually hit it worse.
Chaos.
So make sure, exactly, chaos is the best word that we could use.
So as Trevor's doing this and we would be hitting, right, we've got the right foot back option, we've got the stick in option. The point of the arms getting back in front and the elbow back in front, really nice strikes there, is to get the contact good. If we want to have that impact position and through impact, depending upon your speed, right, where we've got, you know, some shaft lean, we've got some bend in the trail arm and trail wrist. The arms got to get back in front. The trail shoulder's got to get forward enough to be able to do that. When you have the arms back, your impact position is always going to have that throw look to it. Like Trevor said, fat thins, poor contact, etc. I think that's pretty good in terms of the arms in front.
I agree.
Trevor's also got a really cool shirt here. We'll link that down below. These are for sale now. They can grab these.
They are.
So if you do want some markers on, we always put tape on people's shirts and stuff, but he made a shirt with that. We'll put Trevor's info down below. You want to do some coaching, online coaching, in-person coaching, watch Trevor's videos. Love that. Get the arms back in front. Use those drills. You guys have any questions, always just leave a comment down below.